Hi, this is Tim Yoder with Fit Small Business, and today I want to help you navigate some of the difficulties in asking a customer for payment by email. There is an accompanying article for this video at fitsmallbusiness.com/payment reminders. I'll throw a link to that in the description below, and here you can get some free professional email templates for asking for payments. So the first reason you might need to ask for a payment is for an upfront deposit. So this is very common, especially for larger jobs where you'll have to purchase materials up front. Companies often ask for a 20% to 50% upfront deposit to help pay for those costs of the materials. Before you send an email asking for payment of an upfront deposit, make sure that your customer is expecting it. This email should not be the first time the customer is hearing about this deposit. It should already be agreed upon. The customer should not be surprised when they receive it. So you're going to want to send this email as soon as you agree to an estimate or quote with your customer. So don't delay. When the customer accepts your estimate or bid, immediately send off this email request for payment of the deposit. And oftentimes, contractors that are collecting deposits will not allow them to be on the start date, won't give the customer a start date until they've received this deposit. And so you might communicate that in the email as well. You might tell them we have a tentative start date, but this start date is not official until you pay your deposit. Contents of this email, you don't want to just send an email saying, please pay me X amount of dollars. Explain to them how you come to this amount. So the total cost of the job and then the required deposit amount probably also has both a dollar amount and a percentage amount. When does that deposit due? And also, again, specify that if you need this deposit before adding them to your job list or before giving them a projected start date, make sure you communicate that. I'd also let them know when the remaining balance is going to be due. You may not have an official date yet, but you could say something like, within 30 days of project completion or within 10 days of project completion. And again, with any form of payment, you're going to want to tell them what are the acceptable payments. So what are you expecting them to do? Is there a link to click in the email to pay by credit card? Should they mail you a check to a particular address? How exactly do you want them to submit payment? Obviously, some contact information in case they have questions for you. And then it's a good idea to attach a copy of the invoice. Okay, so you've got your deposit, you've done the work, it's all complete now. Now you need the balance due from the customer. So you want to send them another email for this, and this email should be extremely quick. So within 1 to 2 days, the project's done, the customer's happy. I recommend you check with the customer, make sure the customer's happy before you send this email and invoice. But as soon as that customer is satisfied, get that invoice out the door. Don't wait for a month. Don't wait for them to have second thoughts, for them to find minor little defects. Get the invoice out very quickly. I recommend within 1 to 2 days. Contents of this email, obviously the amount due, when is it due, again, acceptable payments. So do you want them to write you a check and send it to an address? Do you want them to make an ACH deposit? Do you want them to pay by credit card? So make it very, very clear to them exactly how they can pay. Now, probably the more difficult. So those first two emails are very easy to send. The customer's happy. You're going to start work on the job. You've completed the job. They should be expecting the emails. All very easy. Well, now we're getting to a little bit more difficult situation where you're having to ask for something that is past due. Obviously, you want to keep this very professional. And these first few emails that you're sending, don't even really think of them as being collection emails. These are just friendly reminders. Perhaps your bill got lost. Maybe you have a bad email address. So these are just friendly reminders to pay your bill. You're not really getting into the difficult collection process at this point. So contents of the email, again, like always, the amount due, the due date, what are the acceptable payments, how do you want them to send that payment, contact information. You also want to address that if this is the first email you're sending, say, you should have already received your invoice. It is now overdue. I'm sending you this email to remind you. If this is the second or third email, then you need to tell them that. Like, this is our second or third attempt at contacting you since this debt has been overdue. And attach a copy of the original invoice. Now, this is one place that QuickBooks Online can actually be really, really handy. So as you can see here in this screenshot, you can actually automate 3 reminder emails for each invoice. And you can specify exactly what you want the reminder to say. It'll attach an invoice for you, and you can tell QuickBooks exactly when you want the reminder email sent, how many days after the due date. So just very quickly, I want to show you where you can go to set these options, and then we'll get back to how you word your emails. Great. Okay, so we're at our dashboard here in QuickBooks Online. To set these email options, we just go to our cogwheel. Then we're going to go to our accountant settings. Then we're going to go to our sales settings, and then scroll down, and you want to go to this reminder section. So if you click anywhere in this section, it'll open it up, and you need to make sure you have the automatic invoice reminders turned on. There, I turned them off. Now we're going to turn them on. You can see here that we're set up to send 2 reminders, one the day before the due date and 5 days after the due date. If you click on here again, you can actually determine the exact wording. Okay, so this is just the first reminder, and this is actually sent before the due date. So you'd want to word this as something as, we haven't received payments, your due date is approaching, something like that. You can send a second reminder, and then you can actually even send a third reminder. So very, very handy feature in QuickBooks Online. If you don't have a copy of QuickBooks Online, I will throw a link in the description so that you can click over and subscribe. So what happens if you're sending these emails for past due balances and you don't get a response? First thing you need to do is give them a call. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Be polite. One of the main reasons people won't pay, especially if you're a service industry, is they're not happy with the service you provided. And so you need to find that out, and a telephone call is the best way. Sometimes they may respond to your email with their issues, and sometimes they may not. So give them a call. If they have an issue with the service, get them in touch with the people that can take care of that. Oftentimes, the person collecting the debt is not the same person that might understand the service that was provided and solutions to offer the client. So make sure that they can get in touch with the person that can help satisfy their needs so that then they're willing to pay. What if they simply can't pay? This is fairly unusual in my experience. Most customers are not going to incur the service unless they can pay for it. Unfortunately, that's obviously not always true. But generally, most of the time, it's either they're not paying because they're not satisfied with the service, or they're simply very unorganized and they have lost the invoice. But if they can't pay, you might offer them a payment plan. Other things you might do is, even if you don't normally accept credit cards, perhaps you can accept a credit card for their payment, even though that might cost you 3%, or you could pass that credit card cost onto the client in their invoice. But perhaps offer them either a payment plan or an alternative way to pay. So what happens if you've gone through a series of 3 emails, you've called them, no response, they're still not paying? Well, unfortunately, at this point, I think you're going to have to go into a more formal collection process, which is going to involve a series of 4 written collection letters sent via old-fashioned snail mail so that you can document all of your communications with the customers. So we do have another video and another article on these 4 collection letter templates. So here's the address. In the video, I'll also throw this down in the description below. So once you get through the email process, if you're still having troubles, please visit our collection letter templates and video for some more suggestions. So again, my name is Tim Yoder with Fit Small Business, and I hope this video was useful.